Hello, and welcome to this special edition of Big Future Live, Fund Your Future. As you can see, my background is a little different than usual because I'm live streaming here live from New York City. While you all are viewing at home, I'm here live and in person with an awesome group of educators at the College Board Forum Conference. And the reason why we're here is because our members, folks in higher education, our K-12 partners, they care tremendously that you have the help that you need to get your questions answered to plan for life after high school. So get those questions ready, and welcome to Big Future Live.
When it comes to paying for college, most families wonder if they can afford it and how to pay for it. Big Future has tools and resources with steps to take that can make college more affordable. College cost calculators that help you understand the actual price of school after aid. Our financial guides explain the basics of how to pay for college with grants, loans, and other aids. Learn how to complete the FAFSA and other ways to make college more affordable. Use the Scholarship Search tool to help you explore 23,000 programs offering over $4 billion in scholarships. That's right, billions. You can match with scholarships based on your background and interest. You can also qualify for Big Future scholarships just by completing specific steps on your dashboard. Every month, Big Future awards $40,000 scholarships to 2 students and $500 scholarships to hundreds more. Making a plan to pay for college is a big deal, but Big Future has what you need to start planning your future your way.
Hey everyone, my name is Greg Rafal. I use he, him pronouns, and I work here on the Big Future team. I'll be your host today, and I'm so excited, again, to welcome you to this special edition of Big Future Live, Fund Your Future, live from New York City. Now, for those of you who don't know the Big Future team, Big Future is a team of former educators, college and career planning pros, parents, and folks who are really just committed to make sure that you have the help that you need to plan your future your way. First off, I want to thank all of you at home for joining us today. We all know you're busy, and it's the middle of the day, but you decided to spend your time with us at Big Future, and for that, we're very grateful. For those of you who don't know what Big Future Live is all about, Big Future Live is a series of virtual community events designed to answer your questions about exploring careers, planning for college, and paying for college. Big Future Live was created so that you can get your questions answered to plan your future and find your right first step after high school. So what is today all about? Today you're not going to sit through a bunch of PowerPoint slides. You're not going to sit through a long webinar. This is actually just a virtual community event centered around your questions and helping you plan for life after high school. Now, the topic for today. It's never too early to start thinking about your next step after high school, and it's certainly never too early to think about how you're going to pay for it. So that's why we're here today. We're here to answer your questions about funding your future, and we are joined by an all-star panel of folks who are going to do just that. Now, we only have 30 minutes today, so I think we're going to dive right in. We have a bunch of folks who are joining us, so let's go ahead and meet our panelists for today. All right, Pam and Carla, I'm going to ask you to introduce yourselves and give us 3 things: your name, what you do and where you work, and give us one quick tip. What's one thing you want students and families to know about navigating financial aid? Carla, let's start with you.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Carla Weber-Wandel. I'm the Communications Manager in the Office of Student Financial Aid at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and I've got just about 16 years of financial aid experience to answer your questions today. And my recommendation to get you all started is to just remember that you don't actually know what you're eligible for in financial aid until you start applying. There's no magic note that tells us that this is what you're going to get until you get through that application process. So you got to apply to find out.
That's great advice, Carla. Pam, what about you?
Excellent. Hi, my name is Pamela Mason. I use she, her, hers pronouns. I work at Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore, Maryland in the financial aid office. And my piece of advice is start early, start now. You're here, which is awesome. Some of you may be seniors in high school, and so this process is happening now. Some of you may be getting an even earlier start. The more research you can do ahead of time, the less stressful this will be. There are a lot of great online tools, including what Big Future offers, but things that you can utilize to get a sense of what you might qualify for. There are net price calculators and other online estimators that you can use, as well as scholarship search engines where you can plug in some information about yourself and find scholarships that you might be eligible to apply for. So don't wait until the last minute. Prepare, learn, research, start early, and this process will go smooth.
Great advice, and kudos to all of you at home. You're doing exactly what Pam said, starting early by joining this event and getting some of those questions answered. Can't wait to dive into some of those questions, by the way, because that's what tonight is all about, or today is all about. But before we get there, I want to learn a little bit more from you. What are you interested in actually hearing about today? Do you want to know about the FAFSA and financial aid? Are you really more interested in scholarships? Or do you just want to know what happens after? After you apply, what can you expect? You're going to see a quick poll pop up on your screen. Tell us what you're most interested in. While you're doing that, let's talk about how the next 25 minutes or so is going to work. On your screen at home, there's an Ask a Question box right about here. That's where you're going to enter your questions. Big Future Live is all about answering your questions, so please do not be shy. We're going to get to as many of those as possible. We actually have a team on the back end who's monitoring all of those questions and getting to as many as possible. So again, keep those questions coming. Also, if you miss anything during the live event, you have to go to the restroom, you have to log away from your device for a moment, don't worry. This is going to be available later on demand at bigfuture.org/live. So we're starting to see some of your responses come in. Let's see what folks are interested in. All right, we have about 30% of you wanting to know about FAFSA and financial aid, and we have almost 60% of you wanting to know about scholarships, which isn't new. Good news, no matter what you're interested in, you're in the right place. We're going to get to some of those questions in just a moment. We have a ton of folks with us today. We have limited time, so Carla, Pam, are you ready to get started?
Let's go.
Awesome. All right, our first question is going to be for Pam. Pam, Wisdom asks, what are some key strategies or tips, if you will, that you would recommend to students looking to secure financial aid and scholarships? This kind of is related to the question we first asked, but Pam, care to elaborate?
Sure. Wisdom, and I love your name. That's a very important question. I think what I would recommend is that for much of the college process, students, you are the main star of the show. I'm a theater major, so I'm going to use a theater analogy here. In the financial aid process, you are going to need to partner with your parents, the adults in your life, to help get through to the finish line. And so one of the biggest strategies and tips that I can recommend is that you may not want your parents to read your essay. You may not even want the folks in your life that love and care about you to know which colleges you're applying to, but you do need them to be involved in the financial aid process. And so having a conversation with your family about the different schools that you're applying to and the types of financial aid that are available, whether it's need-based financial aid and needing to get those tax returns ready in order to fill out the forms, or merit-based financial aid, which may be based on how wonderful and brilliant and talented you are. Your parents are going to be involved. The adults in your life are going to be involved. And so not springing it on them at the last minute, making sure that you as a student are navigating this process. You're responsible for keeping track of deadlines, but giving your parents the opportunity to help you with this process, because they're going to be the ones that are helping and supporting you both financially and lovingly and emotionally. So you want to make sure that this process is easy and stress-free for them too.
That's great, Pam, and great question, Wisdom. To reiterate there, I just want to tell students out there that you're not alone in this process. It takes a village. Don't think that you have to go through this whole process alone. Your family's there, and Big Future is here for you too. Our next question is going to be for you, Carla. Tunar asks, can I get scholarships if I don't have extracurricular activities or if I don't have good test scores? What do you say, Carla?
Yeah, what a great question. And it's actually kind of an awesome answer too, is scholarships are for all types of students and all types of reasoning for why you can apply or why you might be eligible for them. It might be based on grades. It might be based on test scores or those extracurricular activities. It might simply be based on where you grew up or who your parent works for. One of my favorite examples was when I was a student, my dad was a teacher, and through his teachers union, I was able to get a scholarship. Yes, that was also tied to grades too, but sometimes it's just connections you have to different organizations and businesses. So take a look out there. There are all sorts of search engines to find scholarships. Make sure you're also looking for scholarships at the schools that you're applying to. Some of them will be automatic consideration, but not all schools have automatic consideration for scholarships. So make sure you're just doing a lot of research, and you will find scholarships out there. There are some, I heard of ones that were for students that are left-handed, and that was simply, something that they could qualify for that scholarship. So do the exploration, find them. They're out there. It's just a matter of looking.
Absolutely. Thanks, Carla, and great question, Tunar. I'll add to that you can also explore scholarships on Big Future. You can get matched to scholarships that you are eligible for and that you can apply for. We also have a scholarship directory with over 23,000 scholarships that you can explore. Also, if you are in the 11th or 12th grade, I hope you know about Big Future scholarships. The more steps you take on your Big Future dashboard, you can qualify for $40,000 and $500 scholarships. The best part, there's no GPA requirement, there's no application, there's no essays. We're simply helping you to complete the steps you need to own your future and earn money along the way. Our next question is going to be from Elaine. Pam, this is for you. How do you apply for financial aid and scholarships? Talk us through the process, and how do colleges find your financial aid information?
Excellent. I'm going to answer that by explaining that there's two main categories of financial aid. There's financial aid based on your talents and abilities, what makes you amazing and special. That's usually called a merit scholarship. And then there's also financial aid that's based on your family's financial circumstances. Some families have more than enough resources to pay for college, but a lot of us, our families can't meet the full cost of college on our own, and so we need help paying for college. For the merit scholarships, most of the time, the college or university is going to find out how wonderful and amazing and brilliant and talented you are from your admissions application. And so you would be considered for any of the merit scholarships that the university offers. In terms of need-based financial aid, we do need to ask for information about your family's financial circumstances, and there's two forms that colleges and universities may ask you to fill out. One is the federal FAFSA form, free application for federal student aid. You may have heard of that one before. It will be coming to you sometime in December this year for those of you that are seniors in high school. And then there's another form that some colleges and universities, mine in particular, ask for that goes into a little bit more detail about your family's financial circumstances. Now, you may be thinking, Pam, why do you make me fill out the same form twice? It's not exactly the same form. The FAFSA form is going to ask you general questions about how many people in your family and how much money your family has in terms of income or assets. The CSS profile is an additional form created by the lovely folks here at College Board, where you log in with your College Board ID and you tell us a little bit more about your family's financial circumstances, including helping to answer questions about things that may or may not show up on the tax return. Maybe your family has a lot of medical expenses that insurance hasn't covered all of those, and so that's preventing you from being able to pay for college because you've got medical expenses to pay. Or you've got a brother or sister who's in college at the same time, or you just live in someplace really expensive. The CSS profile is going to ask you questions that go into a little bit more detail so we get to know you. We get to know your family, and we can better figure out how much you need and award you that financial aid.
That's great. Thanks so much, Pam. So two things there, the FAFSA and the CSS profile. And great question, Elaine. Andrew has a follow-up question to that, and this is for you, Carla. When will the FAFSA for this year be made available, and when will it be due? Can you help us with that, Carla?
Oh, goodness. I wish I had an answer, y'all. This is the great answer that we're all waiting for. If you hadn't heard, we are expecting some changes to the 2024-25 FAFSA, and with those changes is coming a delay to the release date. Typically, FAFSA comes out on October 1st every year, and we are expecting in future years it will go back to an October 1st release date. But because of those changes, right now we are being told it will come out sometime in December 2023. We are still, at this point, being told sometime in December, but we promise at our school, and I'm sure at other schools too, as soon as we have an actual date, you better believe that will be plastered everywhere, and we will be telling students as soon as we know when that FAFSA will go live so that you all can get in there and start completing it. In terms of when it might be due, that will really depend on the school that you're looking to attend. So make sure you're reaching out to the colleges, universities. You can usually find the information on their website, but see what they say about a FAFSA priority deadline or a deadline. At my school, we actually waived our priority deadline this year just because the priority deadline would have even been before FAFSA is available this year. So Madison is just not having a priority deadline for this year, though kind of like the FAFSA is expected to go back to October 1st, we'll probably go back to having that same priority deadline in future years too. So stay tuned. We don't know yet, but we will tell the world as soon as we do know.
Carla, I'm a little disappointed. I thought you were going to let the cat out of the bag. I thought you had this secret with us today, but we'll save that for a next Big Future Live event. If you're looking for additional FAFSA guidance, Big Future's got your back. As Carla mentioned, the FAFSA isn't on its regular schedule this year, and the new application is going to launch in December of 2023. If you scan the QR code on your screen, you'll be guided to Big Future where you can find more content to help you prepare. With the new application opening later, you're probably asking yourself, what can I do now? Well, the first thing you can do is create your FSA ID. And if you want to know how to do that, again, scan that QR code on the screen and we'll tell you how. Also, if you're looking for additional content and resources related to the FAFSA and financial aid, go to Big Future. We have more content and more articles coming out to help you stay on track. And if you're looking for more events like this, again, we're here to help. We have an event on December 12th for Real Talk called Let's Talk Money. We all like talking money, filling out the FAFSA. And then a day later on December 13th, we'll have another Big Future Live event, What You Need to Know About the New FAFSA. And I know we have a lot of 12th graders out there watching today. 12th graders, make sure you complete the FAFSA when it comes out by February 28th to qualify for Big Future scholarships. You could qualify for $40,000 and $500 scholarships that you can use at 2-year and 4-year institutions. That's enough for me in our commercial break. Let's get back to some of our questions here. All right, our next question is from Valeria. This question is for you, Pam. How do I get my scholarship applications to stand out from the rest? This is a great question, Valeria.
It is a great question, Valeria. And I think the best advice, and I used to do admissions, and so as I mentioned, a lot of times when you're being considered for merit scholarships or those scholarships that are tied to some special talents or attributes that you have, I think students think there's some sort of magic combination of extracurriculars or even words. They're going in the thesaurus trying to find what words make my my essay stand out. I'll be honest with you, in decades of reading applications for admissions, for scholarship consideration, the ones that I remember are those that were authentic, that were true. And I really want to share that with you, that you want to be yourself. You want to share what makes you you. And the way you do that, I normally say, is as you're writing these essays, as you're putting together these applications, choose people that know you well. It could be your best friend. It could be your gym teacher. It could be your little brother or sister. But have them read it through. And if they read it through and say, that doesn't sound like you at all, Pam. I never knew you were interested in tree frogs or wanted to learn how to ice skate. That is never anything I've heard come out of your mouth. Then you may want to rethink that that's not necessarily a part of yourself that is going to engage with the folks on the other side of the application. But if you're writing about something that is a part of your life that has meaning for you, that matters to you, that's going to shine through. It's going to shine through in the way that we're connecting with you as an actual human being. We want to welcome you to our campuses because you are amazing and special in your own way. It doesn't need to be anything fancy. It doesn't need to be anything that goes in the Guinness Book of World Records. I'll tell you the most memorable essay I have from my career is a girl who she worked in her family's restaurant and she made the mistake of wearing high heels on the busiest night of the year, and she had bloody feet from helping her family serve Thai food to hundreds and hundreds of customers. And at the end of the night, she really looked back and thought, I had bloody feet from wearing high heels. My family has, made a life for me here. And I don't know. I'd say something that, again, brings forth what makes you, you.
I want to hear about the tree frogs later. Yeah, we'll save that for another event. But that's great advice. I mean, to just tack on to that, you are enough. You need to hear that. You don't have to make up a story. You are enough, and that will shine through in those scholarship essays and college applications. So thanks for that question, Valeria. Our next question is going to be for you, Carla. Candy wants to know, how different is the new FAFSA going to be? It's your chance for redemption, Carla. How different is it going to be? Just give us high level, though.
Yeah, for sure. So the good news is, with the changes coming, starting with the 24-25 FAFSA, is first and foremost, there are going to be fewer questions that students and families will have to answer. So right off the bat, it'll be a faster application to get through, fewer things you have to deal with, and even some of that information, it was brought through before through an IRS process, but that process is even getting a little more faster and easier for students and families to use. So easier to use. We're also hoping and hearing that there are estimates that more students are going to be eligible for more financial aid, including that federal Pell Grant. So there's really good news on that side that we're really hoping for. On an individual level, student to student, we don't know exactly how financial aid may be impacted. We don't think it'll be anything drastic, but like I said, really the biggest benefit is that the application will be easier for students to get through.
Easier sounds good to me. Thanks for that. Our next question is for you, Pam. This is from Kelly. Kelly asks, do you fill out the FAFSA and the CSS profile even if you don't have financial need? That's a great question, Kelly. Pam, what do you say?
Well, I would suggest that going through this process, another form is maybe the last thing on your mind, but I do actually recommend that students and families, if you have any doubt in your mind that you're going to be able to pay for college, to go ahead and fill out the forms. Because even if you don't qualify for any need-based financial aid, here's what it does for you. It gets you started on this process. While your financial circumstances right now might enable you to pay for college, things change. People lose jobs. Unexpected expenses happen. And in the midst of some sort of financial crisis, you don't want to have to be filling out financial aid forms for the very first time on top of everything else that's going on in your life. So if you're unsure that you might qualify, you can use the online net price calculators and online estimators to see what you might qualify for, but filling out those forms gives you a baseline. So that if something unexpected does happen down the road, you've already got the first step done. The second thing it does is it makes a friend in financial aid. Carla and I were just talking about this earlier. You know, we love connecting with our students and parents. We love making sure that you have all the information that you need. And so even if you don't qualify for any need-based financial aid, we're still here to help. We may be able to help you explore things like monthly payment plans or student loans or parent loans, long-term financing strategies, help you figure out how to pay for things like doing study abroad. So applying for financial aid, I think, is something that we can meet you where you're at. And even if you don't end up qualifying, you've got a resource, and take advantage of it. That's why we're here to help.
And can I just add in a second, too?
Absolutely.
More and more scholarships are requiring that FAFSA, whether you've got financial need or not. So I always tell students, just have it done, because then you don't have to worry about it. Then you can keep applying for other funding and other scholarships as it comes up, and you don't have to worry about also doing that FAFSA. So just have it done, and it's ready to go.
Awesome. Thank you both for that. And Kelly, great question. I hope that was helpful. Our next question is from Sawyer. Sawyer wants to know, is there an app for scholarships where you input your information once and then can apply to many scholarships. Sawyer, I'm actually going to take that one. You can actually use Big Future for that. If you go to Big Future Scholarship Search, you can actually enter in some of your information, what grade you're in, what do you want to study, what grades you get in school, where you want to go to school, and you can actually get matched to a list of scholarships that you are eligible for and that you can apply for. Say you don't want that. Say you're like, all right, these matches are fine, but I want to see everything out there. You can also go to our scholarship directory and explore over 23,000 scholarships that have been verified through the National Scholarship Providers Association on Big Future as well. So if you're looking for scholarships, financial aid content as well, head to Big Future and we got you covered. All right, Carla, we have another question for you. Is there a cost to complete the FAFSA?
No, there's not. That's why it's the free application for federal student aid, FAFSA. The first F is free. And whenever I do presentations, you always see the free part emphasized and bolded and as emphasized as possible, because you should never have to pay to fill out that FAFSA. So if somebody's charging you or saying there's a fee, that should be your first red flag, that that's not what you should be doing. There are also like paid counselors that will help you submit the FAFSA. You can use those, but you don't need to. There are amazing people in the financial aid office. Your high school counselors probably have some great resources to get you connected to get that help. So really in no case should you ever have to pay to get that FAFSA submitted.
And can I jump in about the CSS
Absolutely.
profile? Because that's a form that I mentioned earlier that some of us do ask you to fill out that form as well. There is a fee associated with the CSS profile. It's the College Board, just like there's a fee associated for taking the SAT. But there are fee waivers available, and the College Board has done a really incredible job in terms of making this accessible to you. The schools that require the CSS profile, for families that make $100,000 or less, the fee is waived. There's no fee. You can send it to as many colleges as you want to. So I just wanted to throw that in there.
Awesome. Thank you both. I think one thing that we're getting from this conversation is that students, you're not alone. There are resources out here for you. Contact your financial aid advisors at schools. Work with your parents, because it's a complicated process and there are folks out there to help you along the way. Let's take one more question before we get to our final question of the day. And this one is from Kosegi. Kosegi wants to know, how can I create my FAFSA profile? Pam, can you take that one for us?
Excellent. So the FAFSA, again, is coming. Winter is coming. FAFSA is coming. This is going to be something that you're going to be doing primarily online. And so as Greg mentioned, there's information on Big Future to help you get started. One of the things that you can do is that students and parents are both going to need an FSA, Federal Student Aid. We use a lot of acronyms in financial aid, but an FSA user ID. And that's going to be tied to your social security number, your birthday, and you're going to have a unique password that you create to be able to log in. Because this is incredibly sensitive and personal information, it's about your family's finances, the government wants to make sure that you and you alone have control of that information. So students and parents, you are going to have an FSA user ID where you log into FAFSA. And then, as Carla was mentioning, you actually, the FAFSA, has made it simpler and faster. You're going to be able to zap that information from one part of the government to the other, from the IRS, the tax people, over to the Department of Education, the FAFSA people. And so that FSA user ID is what you're going to use to start your FAFSA. You're going to zap the information over from one government agency to another, and then you're going to sign that with your FSA user ID. So that's a great first step to get started, and to make sure that you, again, are not doing this right before the application goes live. It's something that you can do today.
And I'll just jump in and add real quick, too. We're actually getting some warnings that they're telling us now for the new FAFSA that it'll actually take about 3 to 5 business days for that FSA ID to get approved and usable before it can be successfully used on a FAFSA. So even more encouragement that the sooner you get your FSA ID and password set, the better you will be ready to go when FAFSA does go live in December.
And I have one more quick tip for you. Because you reapply for FAFSA every single year. And for many schools that ask for the CSS profile, you do that every single year too, because circumstances change. Your family's income may go up, your family's income may go down, brothers or sisters graduating, going to college. Financial aid is something that we work with you. You have a financial aid advisor at the college that you go to, but a lot of people forget their FSA user ID. My tip is save it in your phone as Mr. FAFSA or Mrs. FAFSA. Save the information in a place that you're going to be able to find it and use it because you will need to reapply for this information year after year.
And Pam, what is the website that they have to go to actually fill out the FAFSA?
FAFSA.ed.gov. The gov is for government, so that's how you know it's legit.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I can't believe how quickly time has passed. That's all we have time for today. I'd like to thank our special guests for answering so many questions. And of course, I want to thank all of our students and caring adults at home for tuning in today. Let us know how we did. Once the event closes out, you're going to be redirected to a feedback survey. Tell us how today was for you. We want to know because we want to make the next event even better. And then lastly, if you couldn't tune in for the whole event, you had to step away for a moment, know that the recording is going to be available at bigfuture.org/live. Thank you all so much for joining us today. Join us next week for more events. Have a great day.